All right, hello. Welcome back for the Friday's London Open session in here. We'll see what we'll get. But yeah, Nasdaq cleared out the buy sell liquidity in here yesterday. And had a reasonably large range in comparison to the last couple of candles that was significantly larger. And yeah, now we'll kind of want to see whether this is gonna start the march for the all-time highs, or will it see some consolidation? But yep, it's Friday. I'm not expecting too much out of it though, but I'm open to see what the price will want to do. I have my PD race premium and discount race noted. Asia had a little bit of that's a nice Judas. That's a really nice Judas here. Takes the buy side and then completely loses the ground, delivers lower against that all upside yesterday. How is it going? I would say decent. Thanks for asking, Suyet. How about you, my friend? All right, and after that, price basically just consolidated, meandered around. Interesting fact is that it couldn't necessarily reach or trade down into some significant discount after it left the premium array. So yeah, we have in here a breaker, a bearish breaker that hasn't been returned into, I believe. This is the lowest close candle. So let me extend that. Yeah, so we went below it, but never really came back into it. And here it was close, but not yet. And here it failed. And here also. So it would be reasonable to expect the price to draw up into it. I would say so. You're looking for sell side, my friend. Good luck. I wish you a good luck. All right. So yeah, I mean, we definitely have pretty smooth radical lows. This low is being slightly higher. Here we are kind of consolidated, and we also have radical highs here, but also these two. Well, I feel like that's a good question though. That's a really good question. I'm not sure, to be honest, at this moment. I mean, I definitely am not under a strong directional idea at the moment. I feel like maybe some trading inside of the range, kind of scalping without requiring the price to go outside of the boundaries is kind of like something to potentially have in mind at the moment. But yeah, I don't have necessarily the clue or intel right now, so I will try to like figure this out. Yeah, let's watch this inefficiency here. Well, I mean, it can, but it's kind of tricky to tell because we have some relatively close like this and this here. I feel like it would be a reasonable expectation. It might not happen today, but at some point, I would say it's quite reasonable to expect that. But yeah, we'll definitely see. Oh, well, it's 3 a.m. already. I'm a little bit sloppy today, I feel like. But nonetheless, this inversion for value gap already jumped towards the buy side liquidity here. So let's take a look if we can pierce that buy side, and then this is the breaker from that 1 minute structure. So that's kind of like what I would anticipate on the upside at the moment. The buy side, the breaker, and then we'll see. So yeah, the buy side is definitely in the realm of possibility here. There we go, we got that, and now let's watch the breaker. As the next upside objective, it's here, high, low, lowest close, higher high. Relative equal highs into the breaker. So that was like at around 20 handles, 20 something. Not much really. But at the same time, like a small little silver bullet, like back in the 2023 it was. The original version was actually aiming only for 5 handles on ES or 20 handles on Nasdaq. And that was a deal done. Okay, it falls short, a little bit short of the breaker, and now it retraces with a large candle like this. Price liquidity was generally swept in here and here. So we'll see. Now we are trading back into this bullish fair value gap as a discount array. And then we have still this inversion fair value gap as a discount array also. Well, let's see if the breaker can be reached at this moment, at this point, and what it does. Does it offer any premium sensitivity or not? Theoretically, if we would go above it, it could act as a measure of inversion, like breaker, inverse breaker. Yeah, we got a touch into it now, just now, and we've taken this short-term bias liquidity pool also. That's a key moment right now for the price to show its hand, what it wants to do. Yeah, I mean, so far it went into a measure of consolidation in here. It's really not, mm, it's not really willing to move very freely so far. All right, so the shorter little low here was now taken out quickly down into this inversion for valley gap. So this is a key point to probably support the price on the upside still. We left kinda smooth equal bodies here. The wick is slightly higher, yes, but the bodies are relatively equal. So now watching this bullish for value gap here. We close below it, so it could or should act as a bearish inversion for value gap if it's actually bearish, right? Which I'm trying to measure. at the moment. Well, so I feel like it could go as far as this for value up here and still be like a reasonable as a retracement, but preferably it respects this inversion for value up here and attacks higher, tries to make a higher high. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Well, we managed to place a close above the consequent encroachment, but still not necessarily leaving it to the upside. So well, I really don't have a very clear slash clean read on this at the moment and where it wants to go next. I was anticipating this breaker being reached. So far the breaker is resisting price and sending it lower. This still might be like a consolidation here, I feel like, rather than outright reversal. Yeah. What about ES? Well, I mean, ES is in a tight consolidation too. Pretty similar though. Yeah, it has very smooth equal highs. So the buy side on ES, in my mind, it won't stay like this for a long time. But from the current price, it's like 7 handles. So the range is also pretty tight, though. Yeah, it seems to be a little bit reluctant to move for now. It also starts to spend a little bit more time inside this inefficiency, overall being kind of consolidated. So I guess no need to rush anything. Let's just watch and see and enjoy the price action ticking. So yeah, on the short term, it has difficulties to go through this bullish rally gap again. So, and it's spending much time inside of it. So I feel like consolidation is something to be expected at the moment. So basically waiting for more information. Well, I mean, Yeah, but at the same time, London is a really, really good boot camp session where it will teach you patience eventually. Yeah, it's kind of tricky to tell because sometimes London is just amazing. It's so clean. Some weeks are so clean in London, but other weeks are less prompt to be clean in London. I will be doing a study on this topic on a deeper basis on my own, and yeah, I'm actually curious to crack a little bit of that. Why sometimes London is so good and why sometimes it's just so bad. I'm not saying that today is like terrible, but yeah, sometimes. But it goes same for the AM session or the PM session, right? Sometimes the AM session is just amazing. Sometimes you can't really look at it though. Like for example, this Wednesdays after CPI, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Silver Bullet. That was like a pure barcode. Like it was really poor, right? And yeah, I mean, generally it was like so bad. But London was also pretty poor, right? But then the PM session, much better. Well, I would agree with that statement though. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes actually quite a bit. I've noticed recently that the setup is forming just before the silver bullet, right? I noticed that. But Koho-san, if you could tell me where he said it, or what was was it in some space or where he said it? I would love to listen to that. So yeah, for real, Koho-san, if you hear me, then please share the source of this information. And consolidation we go. So yeah, I mean the normal rule is three. I mean, two times it respects it. Two times you can expect reasonably to respect it. But the third time usually it's more likely to give up the ghost and trade through it. But yeah, currently we are under some time distortion, which means we can tap into it as long as it's being held inside of this consolidation. So yeah. Okay, all right. No, less thanks. I mean, I recall that I heard about. I mean, I heard it, but it was quite a bit uh, time before. So great. I mean, if you could, I would love it. I would love to hear about it. Even if you could find it after the stream, just comment. Just write it in a comment. I will definitely check it out because I love this type of nuggets and little gems, especially if they include some silver bullet linked information. Then yeah, I'm all for it. Because yeah, thanks a lot. Because also I was thinking about it. I mean, I'm still thinking about it. Not sure whether I should add it or not. But I was thinking about changing my operating times from the 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. to 2:50 a.m. to 4:10 a.m. Right? So including the whole entire macro time before the silver bullet and the 10 minutes after the silver bullet, right? Assuming that uh, that's when or where I could find the setups forming more frequently or more, precisely. But yeah, that is a slight deviation off of the classic 1 hour silver bullet, like from 3 to 4, which also that's like a very good model, right? It's perfect, but yeah, that a little bit of variance in time, the 10 minutes earlier and 10 minutes after, generally has quite a bit of potential, right? But that would be like a silver bullet on steroids or something like that. Sounds interesting, but well, maybe at some point I will try to add it and test it on the streams. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, generally, finally we finally were able to trade outside of this Pravar gap in here. This inversion held price very, very, very well. It couldn't even never touch the consecutive encroachment. while in here it was piercing above consecutive encroachment regularly. So that was a slight little hint that it's potentially more likely to break to the upside rather than to the downside, because it was so nicely kept from trading any lower in here or any deeper into this inversion. But yeah, now let's see if we can challenge this high in here still, because this still could be a larger measure of consolidation here. From this high to this low, we are still inside this range, right? So I'm not quite entirely sure what it wants to do still, but at least we broke outside the small little range. So let's see. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, it seems it's gonna seek the breaker again. And then we'll see if it will give up, which I kind of suspect that it may. We did left some very smooth radical lows, yes, but yeah, if we could go above it, then it should support price after that and potentially seek even higher, right? But let's see. All right, again, perfect touch to the breaker, slow on this candle and this candle. See if we can now bulk up a little bit of a run against the buy side. That's now relatively equal highs. We have smaller inefficiency here and a proportion candle. Bullish order block, down close candle trading into it. Proportion candle, it should never give way its mean threshold if it's actually bullish. So it touched the proportion candle here. Let's see if it can bulk up a rally out of that. All right, we did. All right, and also closing above the breaker here too. So that's interesting because now the breaker could act or should act as a bullish inversion in a sense. And the next partial liquidity would be here and mind this fair value gap, I guess, ahead of this high. So an inefficiency being formed here potentially with this inversion breaker would be an interesting idea forming in here, possibly. Alright, so we got a busy in the same vast vicinity, and the consecutive encroachment of this busy and this breaker is basically the same. Interesting. Well, I mean, if I well, so I'll target this if not necessarily the high right away. I'll target this one on the upside potentially. I'm not saying yet. This up there. So yeah, sticking to the idea that it may want to seek higher because it traded above this breaker. You can trade a little bit around it, but sticking with the idea that it will want to seek higher, this would be my next objective on the upside. That's reasonable, I would say. In the setup itself, let's see. So if using this busy, so I would like to have a stop loss down there to weather a lot of storm, I guess. Well, but yeah, that type of risk to reward frames me only like a 1-to-1 barely, and I don't think I would be permitted to use a tighter stop loss though. I feel like being below this old low. So yeah, I'm watching closely what it does in the lower half of this inefficiency. All right, so I entered in because they're respecting the upper half of it. It's macro, it's a key level, and the fact that the breaker was not supporting much downside besides this, I'm anticipating the next draw to be higher. And let's see now how it will be delivering. So yeah, so far it looks reasonable. As long as the price is not closing in the lower half of the Bessie end or breaker, that's a very reasonable position. Okay, still no close below it. All right, the body is still respecting the upper half, so that's ideal. Let's see if we can move out of it now and seek that higher level of premium. But yeah, at the same time, it's so slow, right? Like it's really, really slow. In my mind, I can permit it being slow as long as it's respecting the upper half with the bodies, right? If it's slow and we start losing the upper half, I'm not really willing to entertain that, I guess. All right, it did close in the lower half of both. So this is like it needs to react quickly here. So far, so good, I would say. If we can continue with that steam, then I'm all for it. If we start losing the speed, then I'll be concerned. But this is really good. I would love to see it close on the highs. Wow, such a beautiful close there, right on the highs. So yeah, now I guess I could be starting to trim the stop loss a little bit because we basically approach 50% from the entry to the target. And also after this mohawk below it, I really don't want to see it go below those lows. It's giving away a little bit of this range, a little bit too much in my liking. So let's see how it will close. Preferably it should not close below midpoint of this large up candle. It wicked below it, but it's closing higher, so But yeah, digging another time lower. Yeah, any rejection like this I don't like. I feel like I'm gonna bail on it here. I even took a slightly greater loss than I intended, I guess, but yeah, this was this. So yeah, this initial run up here was promising, but after it spent so much time in here, did this run and then give up the ghost, I was like, I'm not gonna hold this. So yeah, regardless. Um, minus 44. So yeah, that's definitely not the worst loss ever, I suppose. But yeah, okay, fair enough. It recouped all of this downside here again, which means that I may have been a little bit too overzealous and too aggressive about collapsing this. My stop loss was still there, so it was safe. But yeah, so now it has this volume imbalance in here, and I would say it should not surpass that on the downside. So that would be like as far as it could go here as a retracement, and it's probably likely gonna strike this if that's the case. Otherwise, otherwise, if it goes one more time lower, I really don't like what it's doing here. But yeah, well, what can I say? Oh my god, they got me good here. They got me good. Bam, it delivered the fair value gap I was looking for. Oh my god, man. Well, that's a good moment for a screenshot. Ay, ay, ay. Literally exited on the low and then it delivered. But yeah, that's fine, I guess. I mean, fine. It is what it is. I shouldn't have been so aggressive about my stop, I guess. I should have allowed it to have some room and meander around. I was just not liking the fact that it was spending so much time inside of it initially. And then I really didn't like the fact that this was trading outside of it and closing in the lower half, right? But apparently that was not an issue for the price to still send it into the target of mine here and even scrape the buy side low by a little bit. But yeah, I guess it is what it is. Nonetheless, thank you guys for watching. It was a pleasure as always, and I wish you guys a pleasant reminder of this day and a beautiful weekend going forward. So See you.